Hello, my name's Jenny. I'm 29 years old.
My name's Kate, I'm 35.
Hello, my name's Megan.
Hi, my name's Anne-Marie Adams.
My name is Anna.
Hi, my name's Leonie Ord.
My name is Natasha.
Hi, my name is Lorna and
I had non-hereditary form of retinoblastoma in my left eye, which I was diagnosed with at 18 months old.
And I was diagnosed with retinoblastoma at the age of 10 months.
Megan, and I was diagnosed with retinoblastoma at 3 months old.
I had RB when I was 2.5.
And I was diagnosed with RB when I was 18 months old.
my daughter Imogen was diagnosed with bilateral retinoblastoma when she was 10 weeks old.
My little boy Killian Coyles, he was diagnosed with retinoblastoma when he was 18 months old. That was back in October 2021.
And my son AJ was diagnosed with unilateral retinoblastoma when he was just 11 months old, and that was in November of 2021.
Imogen's diagnosis with bilateral retinoblastoma has shaped us as a family massively. We weren't quite sure how we were going to get through the first 24 hours when she was first diagnosed. It was such a shock to both me and my husband Mike, let alone, that we'd be here 2 and a bit years later, in awe of our amazing daughter and all that she's been through. She was 10 weeks old when she was diagnosed, and she had quite severe tumours in her one eye and grade C in her other eye. Because of this, she has lost vision, but nothing stops her at all. She had 6 rounds of chemotherapy when she was really little. She's had radioactive plaque treatment, IVC, and multiple EUAs up in Birmingham to assess her condition. It was in the middle of COVID, so there was the one-parent rule in hospitals the whole time. We found that as a family really, really difficult. We're so used to doing things as a pair that actually from the moment of her diagnosis all the way through her chemotherapy treatment and her radioactive plaque treatment and all of her EUAs and anaesthetics up in Birmingham, it was always just one parent allowed in, which was really, really tough. It felt quite isolating, not just for me, the parent that would go in with Imogen, but also for my husband Mike, who used to have to sit in hotel rooms or car parks or at home, just waiting to be updated and told how things were or how her treatment was or whether there was anything we needed to discuss with her consultants. It was a really tricky time.
His tumour was so big that the only treatment for him was eye removal, enucleation. But when you're told that as a mother, it's him or his eye, it's a bit of a no-brainer. So that was a scary time, really scary time.
The treatments I received were radiotherapy and cryotherapy mainly.
Mum and Dad, they only noticed a wee white dot on my eye. It went very fast forward from them finding it 3 days later getting the eye removed because the cancer grew rapidly and broke off. So there was no need for treatment, thankfully.
Killian's RB journey was like a roller coaster. I think that's a lot of parents would describe it like that. You get given one plan, and then depending on what the RB does in the eye is how that plan actually pans out. Killian did fight for quite a number of months, from the October until the April time. Multiple lots of chemo and different treatments to try and get the tumours and the seeds under control. Unfortunately, because of the amount of blood that was in Killian's eye, the doctors weren't able to see the tumour and see whether it was still growing or so it became too dangerous to keep his eye. The decision was made that his eye had to be removed in May 2022. He bounced back from that operation. He has done absolutely amazing. I think a massive positive for us was that actually Killian he didn't have any eyesight in his left eye when he was diagnosed, unbeknown to us, because he just cracked on with life.
I had 6 lots of chemotherapy, followed by cryotherapy, and I still lost my right eye.
And obviously through my treatment I received chemotherapy and laser therapy as well. So here's a picture just to show you the back of my left eye currently. So obviously you can see the scarring on the picture, which obviously affects the vast majority of my vision in my left eye, and I have about 10% of my vision left in that eye, but obviously mainly use my right eye to see.
It's not stopped me in anything in my life. I can drive, I've got a nursing degree, I moved to England to university, met my husband, have 2 beautiful children. They have to get checked depending on their age, depending on how often they get checked for RB, but fingers crossed, all good so far.
I'd say the biggest thing for me growing up was the distinct lack of support. This is something I've spoken to my mum about as well, because obviously she was the adult, and I didn't know any different. But my mum even speaks of how there was very little support for parents back then for a child who had retinoblastoma. I don't ever recall having anyone to speak to. I'd never met anyone else with retinoblastoma. I'd never spoken to anyone else with a prosthetic eye. I just always felt like the odd one out.
He did become really clingy. He spent a lot of time just with me and his dad. I took time off work, so he wasn't going to his usual routine of going to grandparents' houses. So it's been a big curve forward to actually try and get back to some normality.
Personally, I don't believe retinoblastoma has impacted me greatly, because obviously I've lived most of my life with my limited vision in my left eye. My parents often used to say that when I was growing up I sometimes struggled with things like my balance and sometimes activities like catching a ball, which might seem fairly basic, but obviously my centre of vision is slightly off than what somebody who hasn't suffered with retinoblastoma would have. But there are a few occasions where maybe in my life where it has popped up more so in some situations than others. So things like when I went to take my driving test and apply for my driving licence, and obviously confirming that I do have a visual impairment and showing that I can still drive regardless of that.
It's not been too terrible. I think having my eye removed at such a young age, I haven't known anything different. I think the younger the better, and the only thing it stopped me really doing is driving. That I can do most other things. I still played sports. I still go out. I'm not embarrassed by it.
RB has never stopped me doing anything. I do everything that someone with 2 eyes do. Sometimes I bump into a door frame, but that's it.
He's just had to have another operation before Christmas on the 20th of December because he had exposure to his implant. So even though he no longer has RB, it still has an impact on our life, where we're hoping to get the point where actually he's stable and his implant is fine, it's settled, in that actually he can just crack on and we just get used to him having a prosthetic eye. He's at an age where actually he's grown up as if that this is the norm. Him having a special eye is his norm.
The biggest downside, I'd say, of retinoblastoma for me would be the lack of support. Not having anyone to speak to, obviously always knowing you that you were different, and always having it pointed out that you were different, and you know you've got one eye, and it was challenging.
But now I'm obviously in my late 20s going on early 30s. I wouldn't say that retinoblastoma has had a huge impact on my life. It has in terms of me wanting to raise awareness and letting other people know about it and recognising the signs like my parents did with the white light appearing in my eye, but not day-to-day activities as such.
I recently got a custom-made gold eye to show that disabilities aren't anything to hide. I think it should be something that's shown and to be proud of, that you survived something so terrible, but it can be a beautiful result in the end.
The only thing I would say that has affected me by having retinoblastoma is, I'm not sure if many other people who've had it feel the same, but for instance, health in the future. So I've had breast tumours, and as soon as you hear, oh, it's a tumour, you think, God, I've had cancer again. Or I've had I've endometriosis, so like I had a growth on my ovaries, so I'd go, oh no, is that, you know, is that cancer? Or like there's a 50% chance of it turning into cancer in the future. So then I'm going, oh no, am I in that 50%? So yeah, I think there's a lot of fear and anxiety that come with having childhood cancer, but I don't think it's the needs of it have never been met. As in, if I go to the GP and say, they'd be like, oh, you're an anxious person. I'm like, yes, but there's a reason why. And it's something that even I've gone to people in the past, like not in the past, but I've spoke to people about it before, and no one has ever, I don't know if people are in tune or is there enough research about how it affects an adult of having childhood cancer, about their health. That's all. So yeah, I'm in my head, will I be here for my daughters when I'm older? Will something else come up? I'm not so much worried that they'll get it because mine's not hereditary, but they still get checked. But it's just something inside me always has that fear of oh no, am I going to get cancer again?
To see that the likes of Chet and people like Nicola, who are putting the time into raising awareness and making sure that there are resources and that there is support for children and young people and families that have retinoblastoma, is really nice to see. And I do hope going forward that that continues and that more people know about retinoblastoma, they know how to spot the symptoms, and they know that there is support out there.
RRB has definitely shaped who I am and how I lived my life and impacted me in many different ways. But focusing on education, awareness, and what we can do or what I can do has definitely helped me to become the successful, happy, young female that I am today.
She's now a really happy, bubbly 2-year-old who will bomb around the place, will climb the highest thing in the playground, will give us little heart attacks all the time. We as a family are really, really proud of how she's coped. We didn't really know what to expect when she was diagnosed. You get told as a parent that your kid's got cancer, and it is genuinely the worst feeling in the world. Yet we are lucky enough to be able to be standing here with a kid who's proved to us multiple times over just how strong she is and how very, very determined she is not to let it affect her. So yes, her diagnosis did change us as a family. It changed how we looked at the world and perceived everything around us, but how she is as a person is exactly how she's supposed to be.
It didn't affect him like it affected us. I think those around him, he has just cracked on. He loves the hospital. He loves going to see the nurses. He loves playing with the boys and girls when he's waiting for his checks. He thankfully hasn't had a fear of a hospital. I think in relation to us as parents, myself and his dad Gary, we've definitely been on a roller coaster, to say the least. I don't think it's actually sunk in the fact that Killian has had cancer, let alone the fact that he's had his eye removed, and that actually we're now trying to pick up our life where it stopped. We're kind of paused life. It has been hard, and I think what we couldn't have done without is the support from Checked. Just having that person to talk to that understands the diagnosis, that is there to support you. Getting back to life now, Killian is, he's gone into nursery. He's in nursery 2.5 days a week, which he absolutely loves.
He's now 2. He is absolutely thriving. He lives with a prosthetic eye. He calls it his magic eye, or we call it his magic eye. And he's, you know, just like any usual toddler. He has tantrums. He's a chatterbox. He runs around all the time. Sometimes knocking into a door frame due to the limit of his vision. But yeah, we're just looking forward to, as a family, seeing what he can physically be capable of as he grows, and, you know, knowing that his disability won't limit him in any way, shape or form. We're a very supportive family, and hopefully we're now through the scary time and we're now onto the side of hope and what can he achieve, what can he do. So yeah.